Hello, welcome to FundForum Asia 2017. I'm Sarah Clarke, coming to you from the JW Marriott Hotel in Hong Kong. And joining me today is Elliott Shadforth, the Asia Pacific Wealth and Asset Management Leader at EY. Now today you're here to discuss some of the key issues that have been on day one. One of those is digitalisation. Can you tell me about the impact it's had on the distribution channels, in particular for asset managers?
Certainly. Look, digital aspect for asset managers, it's not a replacement of what's been working. It's really an alternative aspect of how we connect with the customers. I think the managers of today have had a traditional aspect of reaching through financial advisors or independent financial planners. There's an aspect of how we connect with the customer today and how the customer connects with the industry.
Okay, looking at the take-up of digitalisation in the industry and from the China perspective, what pace are you seeing?
I think China's actually been further ahead than the rest of Asia. At the moment, across Asia, it is really a small channel for distribution at the moment, but as the customer's looking to interact with the industry, it is really going to grow. I think China's been further ahead. In terms of some aspects of it, how it operates there, it's had greater support, I think, from the ecosystem there, and we've seen great take-up there. The rest of Asia's still got a ways to come.
Okay, and who is taking it up? I mean, who is that market that's kind of using the digital method?
Look, I think it's the customer changing in terms of, I'll say, the digital savvy customer who's now buying and purchasing online, very comfortable with internet banking, other internet services. They're looking to look at internet purchasing of products as well.
Okay, we've discussed a few times where it's been raised, the millennial. Are we talking about the online generation? Would that be the target market that's going to use?
Absolutely. I think in the high net worth and some of the older generations, you're not looking at digital as a replacement at all. It may be supplementing it, but definitely as you come through that generational change, they are much more comfortable using, they're all mobile enabled, they're all comfortable buying and purchasing online. I think it's definitely the aspect we'll see the growth.
Is there how much room then for growth? And say the US, how does it compare to the US market?
I think in some ways digital in the US has been there for many years, but I think in Asia we're seeing the middle market wealth growing more rapidly. And looking at some countries, they're almost skipping an iteration and going straight to digital for some of the aspects of the middle class in terms of the wealth creation and the rise of the middle class will probably skip the traditional investment advisor planning networks and look to go straight to a digital format.
And is it looking at a different net worth investor? I mean, of the high-end wealth management kind of side of things, would they still be going to their advisor or to the asset manager as opposed to the online kind of generation, the millennium? Would they be going?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. I think for the high net worth, they're not going to see. We'll see a slight shift. I think it's more in the mass market, in sort of the mass market connection with the middle class in terms of wealth and early stages of their interaction into the asset management industry.
Okay, not just the client. Let's look at the asset managers and look at how they can use or should they be using or ramping up their utilisation of the digitalisation, and if so, what advantages would they see?
Sure, absolutely. I think the managers can't sit back and say innovation's happening in one part of my business and not do anything else. I think the industry has long relied on manpower and throwing potentially low-cost solutions and looking at different jurisdictions. They really haven't applied the same lens to their internal business in terms of looking at costs. And I think in the era of low margins and downward pressure on the top line, they also need to look at the bottom line and say, well, what have we done with our own processing? Have we looked at how quick we can implement new technology to reduce some of the time taken and also reduce the cost as well.
And do you think the firms are adapting fast enough going down this path, the digital path?
Look, I think no. I think the headways at the moment in terms of the traditional operating model is against them. I think a lot of the processes and procedures are embedded and have always had a very manual process. In some jurisdictions, you're still talking about faxes and hard copy paper. But I think they really do need to turn the lens and move swiftly, because I think the pressure on fees we're hearing is always down, to looking at taking costs out of the business is probably the best solution at maintaining their margins.
And those that don't take up the digital technology, will they become obsolete?
Look, I'm not sure it's a death knell for them in the short term, but I think in the long term, if you're looking at should they be in this business, if they're not taking up the digital improvements, they will be left behind.
Thank you, Elliott Shadforth, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That's all we've got time for, but you can continue to follow the conversations, the interviews and the discussions on Twitter. Just look for #FFAsia. You can also find our feed at FundForum. Thanks for joining us.